right, ready to get going with Deshaun and Jordan here. Welcome, guys. We'll just go ahead and open it up for questions. On the Zoom, also please use the hand raise function if you'd like to ask a question. But start.
Hey guys, Gene Wong, the Washington Post. For both of you, just what kind of pride you take as reserves coming off the bench and bringing that energy and spelling the starters so they can get some rest?
Deshaun, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I feel like everybody that comes off the bench knows that's kind of our job to go out there and score and do the little things that it takes to win. Because obviously we got a talented star five that can put the ball in the basket. So our job is definitely come in there, grab rebounds, play defense, things like that.
Yeah, right. We have players who come off the bench who knows their role, on the team, and like Deshaun said, we all know what it takes to win these games, all the little stuff, what is rebounding and bringing the energy like most of the players off the bench do. We all just come together, so to help contribute for a W.
And Jordan, you obviously played with Deshaun last year. Just how have you seen him handle the transition from starting to coming off the bench?
He's handled it really well. He's really mature about it. He brings the same energy every day in practice and for the games, and he's always the guy on the bench first, so be cheering, standing up. So the energy, it's always consistent with him. So that's great.
Hey, Harrison Rich, the Diamondback. For either of you guys, what's kind of the scouting report on Colorado State? What have the coaches been stressing in film? Anything you're looking at in particular?
Just that they love to share the ball. Everybody on the team is talented. They love to share the ball. Everybody gets everybody involved. They can run their offense through a lot of guys in their starting five. So we just gotta come out, be ready to guard and stuff. And just like any other game, just come out, bring the right intensity, be locked in, be positive with each other.
Yeah, right. Like what Deshaun said, they're a good team that shares the ball really well. They also shoot the ball really well. So we just got to defend the three and continue being a physical and paint dominant team that we are. So.
Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. For either of you guys, how would you describe Derek's game and just kind of how it's evolved this season, and what's it like playing alongside him?
I feel like everybody call him Baby Jokic. He definitely play like him. Great on the low post, get everybody involved. And he's my roommate. He's probably my closest friend on the team. So I love playing with him, being part of his journey and stuff like that. And, he's just a joy to be around. Always got jokes to tell. Always making everybody smile. So real nice kid to be around.
Yeah, Derek is he's a great basketball player, as you guys already know. He plays at his own pace, and I've played with a lot of talent in my time in college, and Derek is he's a special one, but he's always laughing, great attitude. He's a good person to be around. So, and I'm also glad to be part of his journey and to see where he gets to go afterwards.
Ed Lee with the Baltimore Sun. Deshaun, this is kind of a silly question, but do you know why Derek and Jacoby pull up their shirts when you score baskets?
Nah, I think it's like some inside joke they got going on. They haven't shared with the team.
They don't tell you?
Nah, that's between them two. I don't know what joke they got going on.
And then for both of you, you guys probably obviously heard Kevin make his comments the day before the game. Is there a part of you that at the time was like, I don't know if Coach wants to make that stand, or did you appreciate that he sort of took that stand for you guys?
I feel like everybody wants their coach to just be honest and blunt with him. And I feel like Coach Willard is the same guy y'all see when he gets up here. That's the same way he is with us. So, I really respect his transparency, him just always being honest. And I feel like it was good that he voiced his opinion because I feel like everybody wanted to hear. I know, the media wanted to hear. So, he just gave y'all his response.
For Jordan in particular, you guys were talking about what you've seen from Colorado State on film. I'm sure the little of you got to watch them, but them being a 12 seed and the run they've been on lately, you probably don't need any extra motivation at this time of year, but have the coaches stressed that this isn't your typical 12 seed and they've been one of the top teams in the country the last month or so?
Yeah, I believe whether they're a 12 seed, 14 seed, or whatever, it's March, it's win or go home. So all the coaches stress, that we can't take anybody lightly regardless of, what seed they are or what their name is. So we're all going in with the mindset of playing hard and winning because it's surviving advance at this point. So.
All right, any more questions for the players here? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We'll have Coach here at 2:40, I believe. All right, welcome Coach Willard back. Coach, I don't know if you have an opening statement, but we can go straight to questions if not.
Yeah, it'd be great to go straight to questions. Thank you.
All right. If you're on the Zoom, please use the hand raise function, but we'll start with questions in the room here.
Hey, Kevin, Gene Wong, Washington Post. You mentioned Deshaun's leadership last night. Just how's that shown through in his transition from becoming starter to guy on the bench? It feels like you have to be even more selfless when you're kind of in that kind of role.
Yeah, I think obviously going from a guy that was starting and playing a lot of minutes, even as a freshman, to his role this year, sometimes kids need that a little bit. And I think, he's continued to work hard. He's continued to have a great attitude in practice. But I think, I actually think him sitting on the bench and seeing the game and seeing the guys have actually helped him dramatically. He's one of the smartest basketball players. I've always said he's probably a little bit too smart because he thinks a lot. But I think sitting on the bench and seeing what's going on has helped him kind of evolve as a player and a person.
With Tifar being healthier, and Jordan and Deshaun, what do you expect from the bench now that you have all the guys that can be part of the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, it's those guys have been critical for us all year. If you think about just the energy they bring, the defense, Jordan with his defense, Tifar with his length, Jay has an unbelievable ability to get his hands on the ball. So just for them to continue to come in and change the game from a defensive standpoint, that's really been critical for us.
Just kind of taking a step back on Derek's journey here. He was a guy, if I'm correct, you started recruiting on day one of taking this job. How much, were you thinking while you were recruiting him that, what were the stakes for you and how you viewed the need to get him into Maryland, and how has it played out even beyond what you might have expected?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this a lot. It's he was so highly touted, and being on that team with Cooper and Liam and the young man at Georgia, I forget his name. I apologize. It was really important because he was from Baltimore, and he was the next big thing from Baltimore, and we really wanted to keep him in state and not make a recruiting splash, but just make a statement about keeping kids home. I thought we had done a good job in the first class of doing that. And then people talked about having the pressure of, having the McDonald's All-American and having a kid that was the MVP. And we just looked at it as a great opportunity to have a great young man and a phenomenal player. And to his credit, he has worked really hard. Like, we had a recruit on a visit early on, in early November, maybe late October, and the kid was making fun of Derek about, he didn't play well in practice, and Derek's like, wait till you try to do this. This isn't easy. And to Derek's credit, he struggled a little bit in practice early, but stuck with it with a great attitude. He's got that infectious personality. It was so positive, and he's a top 5 draft pick. So, I mean, I think he's definitely exceeded my expectations.
Kevin, Jerry Brewer from the Washington Post. The balance on the core of your roster, I'm talking guys who've developed over a long period, transfers, obviously, and elite freshmen. Is that a repeatable model, or is things just more fluid than that?
No, I think that's not, we've talked a lot, because right now it's the portal season. So we sit down every day for 2 hours and just see who's going in, what we're doing. And I'm already mapping out what I want to do next year with the guys on our roster. The freshman model is difficult, because if you're going to bring a freshman in and pay a freshman, because you have to pay them, you better make sure what you're paying them is going to equal what they're giving you, because no CEO in their right mind would pay someone out of college $1 million and for him not to have one sale, develop him, work him, and then all of a sudden he leaves and goes someplace else. So the balance of the fact that you do have to, we have a budget, we have I know exactly how much money we have. I know how much money we can have. The portal is easier to work with because it's a proven asset. You're taking someone else's salesman that has a history of sales. It might not be in your company, it might not be in your business, but you could see what he has. So there's a history there. With freshmen, there's very few freshmen that can come in and affect this game at a really, really high level like Derek did. I think if you look at this year, I think there's 7 guys that are doing what Derek's done. So it's a balance. Can it be done? Yeah. I mean, like I love Chris. Chris is coming in as a freshman. He's gonna play minutes next year. I love him. So like that's the reason we're bringing him in. But you really have to balance the fact that you just can't pay someone that you're not going to play. You don't have unlimited funds. You don't have. I mean. You're a GM, and GMs don't go out and pay someone $1 million and they don't play. It just doesn't work that way. So I think the model's constantly evolving. When you get rid of the COVID year, the 6-year kids, you add the fact that we go profit sharing and you're going to have so many more schools with money. it's gotten extremely complicated to put in your roster together. That was a long answer, sorry. Tired.
Lindsay Schnell, The Athletic. So to follow up on that, Kevin, like now with NIL, the portal, rev share, all that, you work 365 days a year. What is the appeal of continuing to coach in college as opposed to going to the NBA?
Could be the best question I've ever been asked. I think you will see a lot of college guys try to go to the NBA. I don't know how. You know, the one thing I spent 4 years in the NBA, and those guys, you have to earn their respect as a coach. The NBA is the elite of the elite. And if you look at the guys coaching in there, they're usually guys that started as either former players who have done it and know the game inside and out and see the game on a chess level, or it's guys that started as a video guy, did advanced scouting, then was an assistant. And when you go become a head coach, the players have such respect for your journey that you took to become a head coach. I look at guys that have gone from college right to NBA, and it's really hard for you to gain that respect on the NBA level. The great thing about the NBA is you have a GM, you have a salary cap, you have long-term contracts, you have summers off, you stay at 4 seasons, you travel great, you eat great. You get to stay an extra night in New York. You're going to get me in trouble. So there's so many benefits. The NBA is it's the best of the best on everything. I mean, I lived it for 4 years. You know, you land, you don't worry about your bags. They just show up in your room, stuff like that. You're not out on the tarmac putting them in the back of the bus with the managers. The appeal of college, for me at least, is that you still have a chance to really impact a young man's life. Like you don't have that in the NBA. You're not impacting LeBron James. But I got to impact Derek Queen this year. I got to impact all these kids' lives, whether they like it or not. Through our discipline, through our work ethic, through everything that we try to do as a program, we still impact young men's lives. And so for me, that's still a huge part of what we do in college basketball. Yes, there's money. Yes, there's NIL. Yes, we have no rules. Yes, it's mayhem. But at the end of the day, when you run a really good program, I think we run a really, really good program, you have a chance to impact young men's lives.
Kevin, going back to the portal, feels like a lot of teams have brought in as many new guys as you did, might have missed on a few just in terms of evaluations, what they expected a player to do and what they did, whereas it feels like everyone you've brought in has, at least from the outside expectations, really met those. Are there things that you think you valued more or less last offseason than other coaches that led to that success?
No, I think I've talked about this. When I first got this job at Maryland, we were selling hats at tailgates and football games. That was NIL. And then from year 1 to year 2, I was behind. Like the game just totally changed. It just went poof, guys. You know, Hakeem Hart. We lost Hakeem Hart to Villanova, and that was like when I found out what he was making. I was like, that's our total payroll. I'm like, we have to get with it. And I knew we had Derek and Jew, so like I changed. I really did. I changed my mindset halfway through last year about how I want to play and how I need to develop a roster. It's no longer bringing in 4 freshmen, developing those 4 freshmen, letting them become sophomores, bringing in 4 more freshmen, letting them develop, and next thing you know, I have Conference Player of the Year, year after year after year, and we're building it that way. I had to adapt so quickly in this, and then I think we did a good job. My staff and I did a great job of just saying, okay, how do we want to play? Who's out there? What type of attitude do we want? There's so much that goes into it. So the portal, you can still miss on the portal. I don't think we missed on the portal because we were really specific on what we wanted, and we got great kids. That was really the main thing. Is I wanted to be around a group of great kids, and these guys are a great group of young men.
And then obviously you want to be here right now, but how much if at all of an impact does it make on the portal when you are still playing as it opens?
Like I said, we had a 2-hour meeting about it this morning. You know, we spent last night on Colorado State and really kind of breaking them down. And this morning we spent an hour and a half on Colorado State, and then we spent 2 hours on the portal and the roster. So everybody has time. You know, it's just, you know, it's what you have to do. It's just part of the job now. I'd much rather be playing than being back home at College Park doing it, to be honest with you.
Ed Lee with the Baltimore Sun. Kevin, in this era where a player like Julian Reese is more the exception rather than the norm in terms of staying at a school for 4 years, have you noticed, has it become more incumbent for head coaches to sort of be in front, you know, of their program, kind of be the face of the program?
You know what? I hope not. You know, I think this game's still all about the kids and their opportunity. I know it doesn't seem that way. You know, I watched how excited Derek Queen was on Selection Sunday. I still think this sport eventually will figure out a way to make sure that, you know, that these kids are, because this is their opportunity. I'm a head coach. Like, this is their opportunity to make it. Like, you know, again, I go back. It shouldn't be about the coaches. It really shouldn't be. It should still be about these young men and developing these young men and giving these guys the best opportunity. They're 21 years old. I'm 49. Like, my job is to make sure they can get to 49.
Have you felt any obligation to be the face of this Maryland program?
I don't think anybody wants this face anywhere. If you go to Xfinity Center, I'm not on one wall. I'm not on, and that is on purpose. Like, no, no. I would much rather have Derek Queen smiling and Julian Reese smiling and everyone getting to know them and everyone remembering them. You know, my job is, no, absolutely not.
Real quick on that note, there's 8 minutes left on the locker room availability, so if anybody needs to get anything.
That'd be a great way to segue. Thank you, John. You are the best SID in the business by far. He has to put up with me. Thank you, everybody. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, you had kind of hinted about kind of diversifying styles of play, kind of meeting your team where they are. When you started, say, at Iona as a head coach, was there a defined style of play you wanted to play? And then now, through all these experiences, do you feel like you can play any way?
Yeah, I'll answer that 2 ways. Yeah, I mean, when I got the Iona job, I had worked for Rick Pitino for 10 years, so I thought I was Rick Pitino. You know, you go in there, and I ran the same practices, I ran the same plays, and then when I got to Seton Hall, I still thought I was Rick Pitino until I walked into the first meeting and I saw Rick Pitino and Bob Huggins and Jim Kay, and then I realized unfortunately, I was Kevin Willard. I will say this, the Big Ten has made me evolve as much as anything. I just look at Matt Painter and what they did, and the fact that the Big Ten, I think, is 9-0 now in this NCAA tournament. The Big Ten has forced me to evolve as a coach. When you go up against the different styles, the different coaches, the level of players. You look at the freshmen in this conference and how good they are, top to bottom. Yes, I've evolved as a coach dramatically in 19 years as a head coach, but the last 3 years in this conference, I've had to change even more. You know, to win 14 games in this league, we talked about a staff like that's crazy. Like. And to do it in the venues that we have to go on the road with the players and coaches. So I've evolved as my hairline has evolved. It's a long time. Thank you, John.
All right, Coach.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.